Hello everyone, this is Victor, and I got every Heavensward Anima Relic weapon on the free trial. So if you've seen my previous video where I talked about the Realm Reborn relics, just realize that the Heavensward relics are a lot easier. They're going to be a lot quicker to get and a lot less work, mainly because there's nothing really tied to Gil or the market board, so doing them on free trial is pretty much the same as doing them if you're a sub. With the exception of like maybe some things you could probably get off the market board instead of having to use Grand Company seals. I'm not totally sure how that all works, considering I don't have access to the market board. But for those of you who haven't watched my previous video where I talked about getting all the Realm Reborn relics, this one's probably going to be a bit shorter, thankfully. But we'll kind of go through some of the steps and some of the things that I did and kind of my personal journey. So for those of you who are curious, yes, I am currently on free trial still. So everything's still locked to 60. I did purchase the game, and we will be going through Stormblood probably in the next couple of weeks. I just need to input the code. I kind of want to try some other things first, like PvP, and sell some items that have been clogging my inventory for a while. So with that out of the way, we're going to start with just kind of going over the portraits instead of waiting to the end. We'll go through all the characters and you can kind of see what the weapons look like. But we'll just go through the portraits real quick so you can kind of get an idea of maybe this is something you want to do. I do recommend if you're going to do any relic weapons that you do these. You'll obviously have to finish the Heavensward main scenario quest. And you'll have to unlock them, but we're not going to go through all the steps of how to unlock them. There are plenty of videos on how to do that. So I'm just going to go through some tips and tricks on my journey of getting them. Mainly, it's just going to be some advice. Like, there are pretty informative videos out there, and none of them are kind of gated behind get this at the market board, like with the ARR relics. So we're just going to kind of, some suggestions, especially if you plan on doing multiples. So we'll start off with like the first step is the fate farming. After you've unlocked it and you've done that. So if you're only planning on getting one, just do it. You can turn your ARR relic in. I didn't do that because I didn't want the replica weapons. I had worked really hard for my AR weapons, and I didn't want any of them to be replicas. I wanted them to be actual weapons. And I know there's no functional difference, and they're just glam anyways. But I just figured, like, after you do the Atma grind and ARR, doing the crystal grind in Heavensward isn't that hard. The drop rates seem to be better. You do need to keep in mind that the quest has to be active for the fates to drop crystals. It's only 6 zones. They do drop pretty frequently, and you can do them under any job as long as the quest line is active. If you see on your screen the name of the quest, which is, what is it? It's not the toughening up, it's the one before that. Soul Without Life. So you can farm as many as you like. I wouldn't recommend you get them all. If you plan on doing more than one, I'd get 2 or 3 and just kind of have them. They'll take up spots in your inventory, but you can turn them in and you'll just have them. Get 2 or 3 and prep for that. The next step is going to be toughening up, and that's when you have to have the weapon equipped and do some dungeons. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. The only real problem is you have to do the dungeons one at a time. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. But if you do get tired of waiting on queue, a lot of them, some of them are available through your adventure squadron, and a lot of them are MSQ dungeons that you can do through duty support. So if you're finding you're having long queue times, then just go do them through duty support. It's on average going to take a little bit longer than if you did them with like a party of players. But if you factor in like a 10-minute queue to get into the dungeon, it's ultimately going to be a lot quicker. The next step is probably going to be the longest, because you need to craft some items, or you can just get them from your Grand Company. I crafted a few from my first few jobs, but I would probably I'd farm seals and just get them from your Grand Company. They don't have to be high quality. I think when they first came out, they needed to be high quality, but you just need normal quality. You get them from your Grand Company, it'll be fine. The unidentified items are going to take you a while. You need 10 of those. It's unidentified bones, unidentified ore, unidentified shell, and unidentified seeds. You can get, there's no real easy way to do this. You just have to, you can farm A1 normal, Alexander, the first 4 raids, A1 through A4, every 3 you'll drop an item, and you need 3 of those to trade in for 1 of the unidentifiable items. So you'd have to run like A1 3 times to get 1 bone, and you'd have to run A2 3 times to get whatever that one is. That's if you're really impatient and you just want to farm a bunch of them. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Your easiest thing to do would probably be just do your Beast Tribe quest. Do the ARR ones. All of them except for the Exali. Because they only need... do the ones that give you whatever their Beastman currency is. You can use 3 of the Beastman currency to get 1 bone. You can only do that 1 a day, but you can do all 4 tribes. 5 with the Exali, but you don't need to do the Exali. You can do all 4 tribes and get 1 a day and just kind of build up from there. Or you can buy them with Poetics. If you want to farm Poetics and buy them with Poetics, feel free, but you're going to have to do a lot of Poetic farming for this weapon. Maybe like just buy a few a day, work on a couple here and there. The unidentifiable bone and the unidentifiable seeds can both be purchased with allied seals from your Hunt Bill Master. That's where you'd get your daily hunts. And I mean, that might be an option. They're like, I think they're 150, so it's not like practical to get them all there, and you'd still have to get the other 2. But maybe if you're doing your Blue Mage quest and you have the allied seals and you're doing your ARR hunts, like maybe you have some extra allied seals lying around and you want to get your bones and your seeds, and you can focus on just doing the quest for the shell and the ore in order to kind of pad out what the time is. But that's probably going to be the lengthiest step because there's just no easy way to get those. The next step, the next step, I think I just did Crystal Tower for it. That's the Ether Oil. I did Crystal Tower. There used to be an NPC that if you did all 3 Crystal Towers, he'd give you Ether Oil. I managed to get enough for like 3 characters that way. That's not available anymore. You just have to buy them with Poetics. After that, you're going to get to the sand and the umbrite phase, and like the guides will tell you how much you need of what. As far as farming crystal sand, the easiest way I found was just go do ocean fishing. Like go do ocean fishing. It gives you a bunch of gathering scripts. If your fisher is not leveled up, you'll level up pretty quick on ocean fishing, and you can average a few hundred gathering scripts every trip. Turn them in for blue crafter seals, and you need 5 to get 2 crystal sand, and you're going to need like 60 crystal sand per job. That was the easiest way for me to find it. If you're a higher level player, you're probably just going to go farm. So, like you can probably just go solo the first 3 hard modes, or is it extremes? I don't know. It's not really feasible at level 60 to do extremes solo. You can do the hard modes. I think it's Garuda, Ifrit, and Titan. They drop items that you can turn in. So if you're level 90, that's probably what you do. But if you're on free trial and you're capped at 60, or even in the future at 70, just go do ocean fishing, get you a bunch of gatherers scripts, turn them in for blue script tokens, and then you'll cash those in for your crystal sand. You'll still have to buy the umbrite with Poetics, but it's going to be a poetic heavy weapon, so that's just kind of how it works. After that, you'll do the singing clusters, and there are 2 NPCs that'll let you get singing clusters. One of them you can do once a day, and that'll give you 1. So you can get like 7 a week that way. You're going to need 50. And the other one will give you 18. And you can and that's for doing like 3 dungeons. I think it's leveling. It might be level 50, 60, and 70. I'm not quite sure. But you can only do those once a week. So you'll have to pad out the rest of them by buying them with Poetics. And all the stuff you'll need you can get from Idleshire. I would recommend you set Idleshire as your home point, and it'll just make it free to travel there whenever you want. The next step is going to require you to do 3 dungeons. Go ahead and knock those off, and here's where the light grind comes in. The light grind for Heavensward isn't nearly as bad as the light grind for ARR. Now, I ran into the problem where I was under the impression you couldn't use Party Finder on free trial, and that's not entirely true. So if you go into the Party Finder, you can join any party, and there's usually somebody doing a light grind. It'll be right here. It'll be A9S, and they'll be doing Alexander, Eyes of the Creator, I think it's called. and it's 20 clears, and you get like 3 level 90 players in there. There's usually one up. Just go and join one. They don't usually care that you're like level 60. And you can, well, like 3 level 90 players, you can clear it in like under a minute. And you got to do like 18 to 21 clears depending on if you get bonus or not. So that's what I did for most of them. Initially, not knowing I could join the party finder, I just farmed A1 normal, Alexander normal, the first raid during the tombstone event, and I just did a bunch of those. But I was also getting tombstones, Moogle tombstones at the same time, so I could farm it out, and that popped pretty quick because a lot of people were doing it. I wouldn't recommend you do that unless there is a tombstone event. It takes a long time and a lot of clears, and I did that on 2 jobs and partially on my machinist. So I did it on my Dark Knight and my Astrologian. I did my Astrologian first, actually, and on my Dark Knight, and then on my machinist, and then the event ended, and I just ran Dunscath a lot of Dunscath. If you're going to do Dunscath, you can take a quest that'll give you an item for that you can sell for Grand Company seals, or maybe hang on to it. But yeah, I just join a party that's doing anima light farming. It'll usually be, go into your party finder right here where it says raids. There'll usually be one that says Alexander whatever anima light farm, and just join and wait for it to fill up. It doesn't even have to be 8 people because you're going in unsynced, and you won't do a whole lot of damage, but you get a few level 90s and it'll go super quick. It's also how I got my tank mounts, so maybe I'll do another video on that. But yeah, so that's not hard, but I recommend before you join the light grind, get the 15 new might you need to finish, because a lot of the groups will continue on to what they call the victory lap, and that's the next step where you do all the primals. So if you don't have the new might, then you'll have to bow out of that. So get your 15 new might. You can get them with GC seals, or you can get them with poetics. So get your new might, and then when you finish doing the light grind, big message will pop up, and everybody will go ahead, and a lot of people will duck out, but most parties will just continue on to do the hard mode trials you need to do for the next step. If it's your first weapon, you'll have to do a side quest to get your anima minion. Most parties will wait for you to do that. They'll wait for you. And then just continue staying in the party to do the next step, but make sure you get the quest. If you don't get the quest, you won't get credit for it. And you basically go through 12 hard mode trials. So also make sure all of your trials are open. If your trials aren't open, you're going to be delayed a lot, and it takes a while to open up. Let me go into Duty Finder and I'll show you. So it takes a while to open up some of the containment bay ones. Take a while. If you're through Heavensward, you should have these other ones, and you do some A Realm Reborn ones, but they're all part of MSQ, so you'll probably have those. But make sure the containment bay ones are open. I mean, if you have to duck out and you don't have time to stick around with the group, it'll go a lot quicker if you do. But you can always just queue up and do them with a normal party. But doing them with an unsynced party, a bunch of level 90 players, they'll go super quick. Except for Bismarck, that one always takes forever. So that's pretty much it. At the end, you'll need an Archaic Enchanted Ink, but you can always just get that when you have enough poetics. If you're running short and you see a party, if there's not a party listed here, just put it off and do something else. Check it every few hours or every couple of days or whenever you play, and just see if there's a party grinding for light. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said, the Heavensward relics are much easier to get than the A Realm Reborn relics. And we'll go ahead and show what they look like real quick. We'll just start from the top. And I do think some of them look better than the A Realm Reborn relics. Like, I even had to change what my monk was wearing for it. I definitely prefer the monk one, but some of them don't. I think I prefer the Dragoon one from A Realm Reborn. It's all going to be up to you and personal preference. So maybe you do some of those, maybe you do some of these, maybe you don't do any of them. It's entirely up to you. But I don't think that the Heavensward relics take all that long. Like, you're not going to finish it in a day unless you really want to farm poetics. But at the very least, you have you a nice shiny glowy weapon, and it'll be a lot less headache than doing the A Realm Reborn weapons. And these are dyeable. They're also going to be, if you're on free trial, and until like they add Stormblood to the free trial, these are going to be your best in slot weapons. Now there's an off chance, depending on how you divvy up your crystal sand through and everything, that maybe the savage weapon from Alexander might be better. But I have this Alexander Savage axe, and it actually, my warrior weapon is better because it just is. Also looks better. But ultimately, once you get off free trial, or if you're in the future and you start playing Stormblood, these will just be for glam purposes. But while you're at level 60, these are best in slot, as tombstone weapons can only go up to 270 item level, and these are 275. So I hope that was helpful. We'll have some more videos coming in the future, and we'll be doing Stormblood in a couple of weeks. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, like and subscribe. And if you want an immediate answer, feel free to come join us on stream. Description below. Thank you.